Hello again. This is Nick Roach. It's a bit cold. I think we're in the zeros today. Still outside. I changed the angle of the camera because with the sun being quite low in the winter, it was coming straight in. So hopefully you don't get quite the view, but hopefully it's okay. I'm a bit chilly actually. Been a few weeks since I've done a video. Today I'm going to do one about living in a world of hoarders. I'm going to liken this place to living in a world of hoarders. Every so often when flicking through the channels and television, we'd see a programme of some hoarders. I imagine in other parts of the world you have them as well, but these were English, where people, after often a traumatic event, begin to store stuff, hold on to stuff, and everything becomes very important. And by the time they make the programme about them, most of their house is unusable. They might be sitting in the corner of one room with newspapers and piles up to the ceiling, and to get round the house they have to walk through the corridors of newspapers and stacked piled up. There's no way they can get to the other side or where anything is. I said a lot of the house is unusable. Some of them are still able to use a stove in the kitchen, but a lot of them, that's now piled up so they can't cook, can't do anything. It started to spill over out into the garden. The garage is already long since full, into the garden, and the garden's piling up. People are starting to complain, excuse me, ducks quacking, complain about rats and health problems. And they do a programme about them, and we go in there and you see a very vulnerable person who isn't coping, just can't bear to let anything go. And see the sun's now coming in quite bright. And they have psychologists and psychotherapists and counsellors. Maybe one person doing all those jobs, but they're there. Trying to talk the person through the process of letting stuff go. And their families and friends will be there, trying to help them. And what will happen is eventually the person will accept, okay, I'll help, I will accept clearing it out. And they'll start going through the stuff. One tiny item at a time, one sweet wrapper. We need to get rid of this. Oh no, I can't. But that's so pretty. Or I remember being given that sweet by a little girl who reminded me of so-and-so. Or it was my grandchild who gave me that sweet. I cannot let that go. And there they are, living in this cave full of all this stuff, and they're arguing, defending their right to keep this tiny sweetie wrapper. And then every item after that, this. They can't bear to let anything go. Now why am I saying this? Because to me, living with emotion, which everybody in the world does, let's say, is the same as living in a world full of hoarders. Imagine a world full of hoarders where everybody lives like I've just described. Everybody. Even the counsellors, the therapists, the psychotherapists, they all live like this. They're all the same. Imagine that. So there's no one to tell you you shouldn't live like that, because they all are. It's normal. It's normal to live with all your past, all the stuff piled up around you. It's totally normal, totally natural. No one would tell you any other way, because everyone's living like that. But what happens every so often, you get one bit too much. You see outside a sofa, or perhaps you buy a new sofa, you can't let the old one go. And where you used to have a corridor from your chair to the kitchen to the bathroom to use the toilet, suddenly there's sofas there. And now you can't get to the toilet. You can't get to the kitchen. Now it's a problem. But not the rest of it, because that's just stuff. But this one large item is in the way. You can't get to the kitchen. So that's when these people in this world of hoarders call a therapist, a psychotherapist, and say, help, it's caused me a problem. And they come by, what's caused me a problem? What's causing you a problem? That is that sofa, which of course represents a major problem in their life, one hurdle, one difficulty, one situation, one painful memory. And so the therapist talks them through that one sofa and gets them eventually to let go of that one sofa and get it out, or gets them to make space with something else maybe, and the sofa can be laid down in the corner and it's accepted, but it's not a problem. I don't know if this is making complete gobbledygook to you, or whether you're getting this analogy. But in this world of emotion, it's exactly the same thing. Everybody's emotional. Everybody's unhappy. Everybody's frightened and angry and resentful and bitter, and or they want something, unhappy about something, wish they could do stuff different. All this stuff is in the unconscious, in the psyche all the time. We're carrying it around, remembering it, thinking about it all the time. Or if someone just says something to remind us, but we know, yes, that's there. But no one's getting rid of stuff. No one knows how to get rid of it. They say time's a healer. That's all they do. It's like having all the stuff and waiting for it to rot down. That's not the answer. But that's what people say. Time's a great healer. So you've got everybody is living with all their emotion and stuff. And even therapists these days, they say that every emotional hurt, every pain, every unhappiness you get in your life from being a baby all the way up gets stored in the unconscious. I don't know if you can hear that motorcycle off on the roads. We were out on ours yesterday, a very nice day. But yeah, from being a child, a baby, every unhappiness is stored. And if it's major traumatic events, that makes a great difference to the psyche, leaves a massive imprint, and a person can forever have a phobia about something because of it. But every unhappiness is stored there. And that's normal. That's the way we all live. Even the therapists aren't telling you that's wrong. You shouldn't have them, because they've all got their own. It's only when you have a massive traumatic event that's made a difference, like a sofa in the corridor of the hoarder they can't get through, that suddenly someone says, I've got a problem, I need to address this. And you go to the therapist and you talk through that one particular item. They might go through other stuff as well to find out how you got to there, as other bits might be talked through and understood and tidied up a bit in the emotion. But it's usually about one particular item, a massive piece of bulk furniture in the analogy. You get rid of that, and then you're at the same state the therapist is. An unhappy person sometimes, unhappy today, happy tomorrow, or vice versa. Doing their best to live life and get by, and everyone carries on. That's this world. We're living in a world of hoarders, except we're not hoarding junk. We're not hoarding stuff. We're hoarding emotional imprints, emotional memories, emotional hurts and pains. And that's what karma is. In the one being, the psyche of the world, and your own being, nature, which is the one being, your karma is all your emotion that's stored there, that you've built up, and it's still in there now, and that is the emotion that's coming up all the time. That's what creates the outside environment. This karmic energy, all the stuff you've stored, that haven't dealt with. It's pushing all the time, driving the external situation, creating it. And all we do is we just muddle through, accept it's all there, think about the problem and worry about it some more. So it's not actually dealt with, it's just looked at and remembered in the hoarder's world. Oh yeah, I need that. Yes. That was really unhappy, or that was really painful, and that'll go back on the pile now. So, what can we do? Well, it's the same thing I say in all my videos pretty much. Emotion cannot survive in conscious awareness. I'm not making it up. You can read my autobiography. I'd love you to read my autobiography. You can read my autobiography, which is 400 pages, explaining my entire life, all my journey, all my insights. The whole thing is all there. You don't have to question it. It's there, written as it happened. If someone wanted to say, I don't believe you, well, also you can try it for yourself. I've explained how to in many videos. But it's very, very simple. Emotion cannot survive in conscious awareness. It cannot. So just holding the emotion still, when it's there, it's conscious, you're aware of it, you're holding it, and it just disintegrates. Now why is that so hard to do? Because we're in a world of hoarders. Holding it with the attention, holding it still, and not allowing the imagination to create a story around it and think and worry and remember. That's the same as a hoarder holding this item, and they've got an open fire and putting it in the fire. Every item. Let's say the fire is big enough, because in the emotions it is, and the items are small enough. It's everything going in the fire. You notice I'm looking at it first, because the energy of it has to be acknowledged and made conscious. It's not just, although there are of course people who have become enlightened through a massive traumatic event and all the emotions be ripped out of them at once, so that actually can happen. It's just dump the whole lot. But those sort of people, using the hoarder analogy, it's like it just happened to them. It's like they went to bed one night in their hoarder house, in their emotional state, came down the next morning, everything had gone. And it's like, wow, such a shock. But hey, this is really nice. I like this. And that to me is these people living in the moment who are enlightened, liberated, but didn't do it themselves. It just happened to them. And then they can walk around telling everybody how great it is to have no stuff, to be free inside. But in a world of hoarders, if you don't tell them how to do it, because you can't tell them, you can, but you can't tell them, I went to bed one night, woke up the next day and it's all gone. That doesn't help them. So when these people say, these teachers say, I didn't do anything, it just happened, well, it doesn't help the hoarders, does it? The ones with all their stuff in the house, they can't walk from one room to the other without clambering through stuff to say to them, well, it just happened when it does, nothing you can do. And these hoarders pay good money, the emotional people, to go to these spiritual teachers to be told there's nothing you can do. I get it. I get it. Am I having a rant here? Don't mean to, sorry. I get it though. If you went to bed one night as a hoarder, got up the next day and everything was clear, what else are you going to teach people but it just happened to me? It just happens. It's wonderful. I'm just free. It just happened. And there's nothing you can do. It'll just happen to you if you're lucky like I am. But there is a process you can do, because the emotion cannot survive in conscious awareness. But it begins, as per these programs on the hoarders, it begins with the knowledge, I don't want to live like this any longer. But who the hell's going to do that in a world full of hoarders when everybody's living like that? Who is going to say, I don't want to be emotional and unhappy and angry and jealous and frightened and worried anymore? Who's going to say that when everybody's like that? We're like a massive thing of, like a pinball machine. All emotions just banging off each other, interacting and knocking into each other and looking at each other and arguing and getting all ruffled because he said this and she said that. It's just little emotional energy just bouncing off each other all the time. And that's normal. We think it's natural. I guess it is if you accept the whole world, the whole environment created by the emotion. That is natural. But it doesn't have to be. But that's why this is so difficult. Because everybody is emotional. And there are a small number of people who aren't. Who are enlightened, liberated, who just teach, there's nothing you can do. It just happened to me. So you've got all these people who are unhappy and emotional, the whole world, let's say, and you've got a small handful going, oh, well, I'm free, but nothing you can do. There is something you can do, but it starts, the very first thing is to start with, I do not want to be unhappy and I'm not going to accept unhappiness in me any longer. But only you can do that. Because no one else is going to tell you that, because they're all quite happy being unhappy. A hoarder is quite content to live in their mountain of stuff and not be able to see the wall 3 feet away from them. A hoarder is content like that. They're not going to change. And this is that world where everybody's living like that. So you have a choice. In some ways, you don't have a choice because you're either ready or you're not. Just with giving up possessions, someone can't make someone be prepared to do it. You're either ready or you're not. But that's why it's so hard to do this. No one's doing it. Thank you.